gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode
of After I Do.
It's your man
Starring
Royale.
him and wife.
Okay. I'm glad you're really excited.
I am.
It's interesting that we're at this point in the holidays as we get closer to Thanksgiving and Christmas. One of the things that I do not talk about, but I think we should, and actually I'm not, we'll talk about it on camera, is the idea that I wish we had more children.
Oh.
And I don't know why we don't. We have 3 young men that are doing very well. And now we got another young man, a little grandson. I have to embrace that. We have a grandson. So PJ, if you see the little guy, the little cute young man that's in the videos, that's our grandson.
You're making my heart melt.
And some of y'all looking at me like, he's not old enough to be a grandfather. No, it is what it is.
Right.
She came into the relationship with a son, and that young man now, after 22 years, is now 30, and has a son. He's old enough to have a son. He has a 1-year-old son, he and his girlfriend. And so that makes her a grandmother and me a grandmother's husband.
I wondered if you was going to admit it.
Whatever. I'm fighting it, but it is what it is. So you see, PJ, we got 4 young men.
We got 4.
I come from a big family, and I know the joy of having a lot of siblings. As you guys know, if you're just tuning in, I'm one of 14 if you haven't been following us. I have 13 siblings, 11 brothers and 2 sisters. And let me tell you something. I know you haven't experienced this, but there's nothing more magical than coming downstairs during Christmas and having all of these people experience that joy with you. Now this is going to be a completely, I'm going to be a hypocrite because now I don't Christmas is kind of wishy-washy with me because as I've grown up and matured and learned more stuff, I think there's a detachment from what Christmas is, what it represents, and how Christmas has been corporatized, like this corporate thing that gets people to spend money,
Right.
and I think we're being controlled in that way. But there is something to be said about, being a kid and coming downstairs and the idea of Santa Claus and cookies and hot chocolate and wrapping gifts, and you multiply that times 13 siblings.
Woo.
We have what? Now 2 kids in the house.
No, and
So
that's hard.
we don't, and I want it more, and I don't understand why.
Well, I think the issue was Ross, Ross kind of stopped us in our tracks because
Correct.
we had to give him so much attention that I think the idea of having another
Okay,
child.
just so we're clear, our youngest son was born on the autism spectrum. And we take our hats off to any parent, single or otherwise, who are dealing with the challenges of kids who have autism or any of these other challenges on that spectrum, because it is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And so now that you mentioned that, I'm glad you said it, because now that's
It's
regional
not
center
stop.
calling
It's not
saying
gonna stop.
it's fine. It's not at any rate, don't worry about that. My goodness, out of area. That's a bill collector. We ain't answering that.
It's not going to stop.
But at any rate, our youngest son was born on the spectrum. We spent a significant amount of time, literally,
It was 5 days a week.
one-on-one with him. It was 7 days a week.
7, right. But
She recognized it, thank God, because I was oblivious. I missed it. She was like, something is not right. We went and had him tested. Sure enough, he was on the spectrum. And I mean, I wish we had video footage of his behavior when he was diagnosed, because if you meet my son now, he's very outgoing. He speaks 2 languages. He's starting a 3rd language. You would look me and April in the face and say, you guys are liars. This kid, there's no way in the world this kid was born on the spectrum. But I can tell you that he absolutely was, and my wife and I made a decision that we were going to invest every ounce of energy that we had and any resources that was available, we would find it to make sure this young man had the opportunity to live a full life on his own and away from us, not as his primary caregivers.
That was the main objective.
And now that you again mention it, it just jolted me. Oh, that was the thing. That was the thing that stopped us from. It scared us.
It scared us
because we didn't want to have another child with a challenge. We thought, oh, we had one child. What if we get another child
I just
and
couldn't.
who's more, you know what I mean, even higher on the spectrum?
Right.
Like, that's a lot of work. And we've seen the single moms down at the regional centers who don't have the support system
And the
or come from a
grandparents.
two-parent family. Oh my God. Listen, there was one family. Go ahead, I'll let you talk about the family.
Parents of
The grandparents.
blind. The couple were blind. So the husband and wife were blind.
They had twins.
And they had twins on the spectrum, full blown, like really,
Yes.
a lot of issues. And they had to go to work every day, and they had to send their parents to the
grandparents were
grandparents
were the primary caregivers.
And they were older yes.
They were old.
70, 80-year-old.
And let me tell you something.
It was
April and I
heartbreaking.
would see this and go, you know what? We are blessed that one, we're in a position where we can be available to Ross and give him the care that he needs. And again, I swear, I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all.
Crazy.
I go back and forth sometimes. I see some stuff that's happening in the universe where I question whether there's a God or not. But when I think about Ross and where he was versus where he is now, I don't question whether there's a God or not. There has to be a God that helped us get through that situation and to deliver him to where he is right now.
Right, he's amazing.
So, again, now
that was the reason, and when we looked up and Ross was doing fine at maybe 4 or 5 years old, we're like, oh my gosh, we're at the regional center. Everybody was like, look, he's good. He's testing off the charts. He's in regular school. Everything is good. It was 5 years later, like I said, and I couldn't fathom, having another child. It felt like time had passed me by. Yes, I was still able, but I don't know. It just, time went really fast. And now that they're 16 and 14, I wish we had more kids. So maybe we can adopt. Would you think about it?
That's a tough one. And I'm literally, yes, I am tearing up thinking about that. We robbed ourselves of the opportunity to expand our family.
We should have had more. I know, I think about it all the time. But we were so stressed. It's not our fault. I think we had my grandparents we were taking care of, 2 of them. Then we had Ross. I was back and forth to New Jersey. Don't make me cry.
All right. You close this episode, please.
Thank you for tuning in. It's a very, very, if you have kids, I can tell you this. We wish we would have had more kids. And had I known what I know now, I would have had more kids, because you only get one chance at it. And while you're having children, and I know you're stressed out, let me tell you something. The time flies. Have your babies. Have them, because as you get older, you will always have them.
But you know what? Have children and build, families are precious. Kids are precious commodities. Don't take them for granted. Stop. I see people yelling at the kids and mistreating them. There's people who don't have the ability to have kids. So stop taking them for granted. All right, close, please. Please close the episode. All right, I'm sorry. We'll see you guys on another episode.